So they say, okay, fine, we'll pay for the operation. It should not take a United States senator to get a father the health care that his sick son needs, that he had already thought he had paid for. It should be illegal, and we're going to end insurance company discrimination. It's illegal in our country, thank goodness, to discriminate on the basis of race or gender or religion or ethnicity, but insurance companies can discriminate on the basis of sickness. I think that's un-American. It makes no moral or economic sense. It's wrong. So here's what we'll do. No new government bureaucracy, no government-run medicine. We're going to open up an existing program. It's the program that provides health insurance to members of Congress and federal employees. And we're going to say, if it's good enough for members of Congress, it's good enough for every Hoosier and every American, and let you keep insurance if you have it, but if you don't, you'll be able to buy into it. And the cost will be less than you can find elsewhere, because when you have millions and millions of people, you can drive down costs. It's like buying discount. You go to a store, you want to buy 1 can of peas, it's going to cost you more per can of peas than if you go and buy a carton of them. So we're going to get the cost down for everyone. We're going to improve the quality. I am the only candidate left with a universal health care plan. And it is not an issue for me. It is a passion for me, because our country must, once and for all, achieve universal health care. And we're going to make sure education remains the passport to opportunity for all of our young people, starting with preschool education, to make sure we better prepare our children. I will end No Child Left Behind. I don't think it's working, and I know we can do better, and I will be a president who actually listens to our educators who are on the front lines, listens to our students and our families and our communities. And we will make college affordable again for every young person. It has become so much more expensive to go to college, and I have a young woman here in the front row who's nodding madly. $30,000 in loans this young lady has. And when I went to college a long time ago, my father saved enough money so he could pay for room, board, and tuition, but our deal was that if I wanted to buy a cup of coffee or a book, I had to earn the money. And that was fine, because the big costs were taken care of. I got out of college, I decided I wanted to go to law school, and I told my dad, and he said, that's not part of the deal. So I kept working. And I got a little scholarship, but I paid my way through with loans from the federal government. Really low interest loans. And I believe that that's what we should do for our young people. My country invested in me. I had to pay them back, but it made it possible for me to finish my education. What happens now? Young people are asked to pay these outrageous rates of interest. 10, 15, 20, 25, even 30%, I've heard. 27%. This young woman pays 27%. We have had historically low interest rates. The student loan companies have been ripping off students and families for the last years. We're going to put an end to that. We're going to say no more. I want to get back to direct lending from the federal government. We'll increase the tax credit. We'll increase the Pell Grant. We'll connect the Pell Grant to the rising cost of education so it goes up as the costs go up. I want to have more national service so that young people who do 2 years of national service will be able to get $10,000 a year put toward their education. And we will also offer to those who have acquired these big debts, like these 2 young women here are, that if you're willing to do public service jobs when you graduate, we will let you pay off your debts over time so that you can do a job like teaching or nursing or law enforcement where the public really needs your help. These are the kinds of investments that are really the building blocks for the American dream. And of course, we've got to restore our leadership around the world, which does begin with ending the war in Iraq, but it goes beyond that. We've got to rebuild our alliances and our relationships. We have to make it clear that the United States must be the leader of the 21st century, but you cannot be a leader if no one is following. And we cannot tackle any of the tough problems we face like global terrorism or global warming or global epidemics unless we have friends and partners who work with us. And it is so important that we have a president who respects other countries, who reaches out a hand of cooperation and partnership whenever and wherever possible. Sometimes people ask me after I say something like that, they say, well, I mean, I don't care whether people like us. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. In order to solve our problems and meet our threats and dangers, people have to want to work with us. They have to respect our values. You know, the way that we're going to be successful in the 21st century is persuading people and governments around the world that American values stand for universal values, that our belief in human dignity and human rights is something that we don't just talk about for ourselves, but we hope to be able to see flower around the world. And so it's important that the president takes that historic mission to heart and works once again to restore our standing in the world. And as we bring our troops home from Iraq, we must take care of them. They have earned not just our thanks and our gratitude, but health care and compensation and other services. There's a young woman here with a paper cutout of someone in the Army. And is that a son? A husband? A son-in-law, Joseph Kovach. And if you have, as I have, along with Senator Bai, spent time meeting with our young men and women in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and elsewhere, you know that they are the best America has to offer. You know, the other day in Pennsylvania, which went pretty well, I thought. I was pleased about that. At my wonderful victory celebration in Philadelphia, I saw a young man who was working for me in my New York office. And after 9/11, he came to me and he said, you know, I want to serve my country, and I'm joining the Marines. Young man, graduated from college, a very bright, engaging young man. And I was so proud of him. And I told him that, and I wished him well. So he came to my victory party on Tuesday night in Philadelphia. He's about to be shipped out. He's done with basic training and his first assignment. And I said, well, how do you feel, Dan? He goes, well, he said, you know, I believe so strongly in this country that we can survive poor decisions by presidents if we all do our part. And boy, that really made a big impression on me, because that's what we're asking each of us to do. Not everyone's going to join the military. Not everyone's going to run for office. But we all have a role to play. And we certainly agree as a nation that we have to take care of our veterans. That there shouldn't be any debate or dispute about that. That should go beyond politics. And that means we need a commander-in-chief who respects those who serve, understands that their families also sign up to serve when a son-in-law or a son or a daughter or a husband or wife go off, and that we will take care of them. And as Commander-in-Chief, I will do that. I was honored to be endorsed by your former Adjutant General, General George Buskirk, and 35 other generals and admirals, and by 2 former chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's only happened once in history that even one endorsed a presidential candidate. And we just finished traveling around North Carolina with some of these generals, including General Buskirk. And General Hugh Shelton, who was the first Green Beret to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, announced his endorsement for me and said that he trusted me to be the Commander-in-Chief, to bring our troops home with honor, and to protect and defend the United States. That's a heavy responsibility, but it's one that I believe I am ready to assume if given the chance to serve.